everybody. This is School Board Member John Arguello, and we are doing a live special regarding the Joe Biden interview with UNivision. So my friend Jose Castillo, who's running for Congress, and I came up with this idea to do this show so that we could address what the entire Hispanic community knows. The interview on UNivision was an attempt to manipulate the Hispanic community because they dubbed it, right? The interpretation was very favorable. So no one in the Hispanic community who watches Univision would know exactly how badly Joe Biden was falling apart during the interview. Of course, if you watch it in English, it's very clear. So with that, my good friend Fior is going to do the introduction. We're going to do this little group shot in Spanglish. So we'll be talking in a combination of Spanish and English, and just kind of enjoying the dialogue as we watch the interview.
Sí, buenas. Mi nombre es Fiordalisa Frías y hoy lo que vamos a hacer es vamos a compartir con todos ustedes la entrevista que el presidente Biden tuvo en Univision, donde sus palabras fueron traducidas en español, pero con un twist, con un giro. ¿Cuál es el giro? El giro es fácil. Es que cuando lo que él dice se traduce a español, no tiene una claridad de lo que en verdad él está expresando. Lo que se dijo en español fue de una forma muy sublime y perfecta, cuando durante su entrevista en inglés sus palabras estuvieron confundidas y él estuvo bien, fue algo bien difícil para él. Vamos a enseñar exactamente cómo eso ocurrió.
Excellent, great. And so now we're going to start watching it, and then we react.
The White House in Washington, D.C. For the first time, Spanish language media outlet spent 3 days with the President of the United States as Televisa UNivision tagged along 2 paint stops and spent time with the President in the White House. Our time together began in Las Vegas, Nevada, where the President met with his community members and shared his vision on affordable housing. In the crowd were Vic and Maria Curera, first-time homeowners, thanks to federal aid.
The United States of America. The only nation in the world that's come out of every crisis stronger than we went in.
Shortly after, the President boarded Air Force One to fly to Phoenix, Arizona, a state that proved decisive in Biden's 2020 victory and will be decisive again here.
You know, last time, you're the reason why, in large part, I beat Donald Trump.
At a cheap factory outside Phoenix,
He might be talking to dead voters.
Emphasized education, science, and technology to create long-term jobs. Days later, we met again in the Roosevelt Room at the White House for a straightforward, in-depth conversation you can watch tonight. We also met in the office, which has been used by every American president since 1909. There, President Biden talked to us about family and legacy.
So this is the night we was president.
That's the Chicago.
This is the Chicago. That's my mom. And we'll look at his face.
Through these conversations, the cases against his opponent, former President Donald Trump, kept evolving in the court. Immigrants arrived at the U.S.-Mexico border, and Israel launched an airstrike that distributing food for World Central Kitchen. In your state of
So before we go into it, what did you guys
to paint a picture. There's no real, you know what I'm saying?
So I agree. It was completely favorable because they didn't talk about any of the things that people have concerns about, right? They didn't talk. You, Biden, as a man, are you over the hill? Are you, so it was just as if he won and he's the president and no big deal, right? No questions answered so far into the primary. I think it signals that they're not going to talk a lot about the challenges that he's having.
You said freedom and democracy are under assault
Even the
at
imagery.
home.
Even the imagery makes him look powerful.
The Civil War and FDR's war to leadership. What, in your view, constitutes the primary threat to freedom and democracy?
I don't know if we're going to get through this interview, but I think it's a big sign of things to come when the first test is the opponent's name. When somebody comes to me, why are you running? You already know that you're at a disadvantage within 50 seconds of this interview.
Wars, the attack on the Capitol, and the destruction mayhem, and the people were killed, and police officers who died, and call that political heroes, call them patriots, and saying that if he gets elected, he's going to free them all because they're being held illegally. It's just, and think of the things he says. Look at the way he talks about minority populations or Hispanics. We're talking about them being. Anyway, it's just, I can't.
Isn't it dubbed? I thought it was dubbed.
Oh, maybe this is the English version. It was dubbed. Okay, well, this is what we're watching in English. Yeah. But here's the funny part is, again, now he's talking about January 6th, right? And then he says, look how he talks about minorities. But it was his wife who called Hispanics tacos, right? His wife went on a speech and said that we were like breakfast tacos. I don't remember Donald Trump ever calling Hispanics tacos.
I can't think of any other time in my lifetime in history has occurred that you've had somebody who's had this kind of attitude. He says he's going to be a dictator on day one. No one doesn't believe it.
Yeah, this is the first rematch election in almost 70 years, but it is the first time in history that one of the candidates is facing federal charges for his alleged efforts to overturn the result of the 2020 election and disrupt the certification of the electoral vote on January 6th. How is that shaping the way you are running your campaign?
Well, look,
three
Donald
questions
Trump
all about Trump so far.
Donald Trump, from even before the election, was calling it.
Hey, so pause for a second.
He talked about.
Do you guys feel energy from Biden? There's very little energy, right? So for those of you who are listening, just we need to be clear, okay? So that's his voice, very low energy. They dubbed it in Spanish. It's basically like if they put the voice of Mufasa, James Earl Jones.
Oh, wow.
A powerful voice.
Yeah.
Right. So that the Hispanics listening in Spanish think, wow, that this guy.
No matter what I do, I'm telling you, we are much smarter than that.
Yeah. I'm glad that you say that.
So this is the other thing I'm looking at. So, for example, this is an election year. Without a doubt. Many candidates are running all over the place in all sides of the spectrum. This is not the time, in my opinion, to be discussing the really want to hear.
What are you going to do?
What are you going to do for us? How are you going to fix the economy?
Yeah.
How are you going to fix the fact that many people are losing their homes? They're becoming homeless. They cannot afford to feed. Pay their bills. I think this is the time where a plan needs to be expressed and being put in place. Because, to be honest with you, we all have felt the end of that, slash of what's going on. All of us.
And eggs are expensive in every language,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
It doesn't
Exactly.
matter whether you're Spanish,
It doesn't
Hispanic,
matter.
Chinese,
So,
French.
To be honest
eggs
with
are
you,
expensive.
that's an interview for another time. But for now, we are months away from that can determine the way, the history of this country and which way it's going to go. And he's talking about the past.
Yeah.
I don't want to hear that. I want to hear what are you doing in the future. That's what's important to us.
You know what I'm going to say to them? I don't want to spend 1 minute listening to this. You know why? Because I don't want to insult my intelligence.
Yeah.
It is.
Well,
it is. I'm serious.
Well, to your point, he talks about Donald Trump. Everybody's got their opinions about that already, right? But he doesn't talk about the economy until the last part of the interview. So how is it that you run for president and you talk about your opponent first and the economy last? It tells you pretty much his entire administration has been the result of him putting the economy last and Donald Trump first, right?
Yeah, but you know what my hope is? It's just like we're talking in here. There are people, grandes comentaristas que están diciendo eso mismo que nosotros estamos diciendo.
Ojalá.
Y eso va a contrarrestar lo que él dijo.
Ojalá.
¿Puedo decir algo yo también?
Sí.
Que por lo menos reconocer en qué falló y cómo antes que termine su periodo arreglar.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Accountability.
Yep.
Sí.
Right? Yeah, absolutely.
Tomar responsabilidad de las cosas que hicieron mal por no tener una buena asesoría.
Exactly.
Yeah, están hablando de lo que pasó hace 5 años, pero los últimos 4 años no está hablando nada, no ha dicho nada sobre ello.
Cheating and all this. And all the times they took these cases to the Supreme Court of the United States, Republican court said no.
I thought it was dirty.
It's only when you win. And his attitude about what he should be able to be doing, what the power of presidency is. He wants to suspend parts of the Constitution. Who in God's name would say that? Who has said that before? So he has a very, I think, jaded view of the Constitution. He made it clear that he doesn't plan on abiding by parts of it if he thinks it's not appropriate. And it's just, at least he's saying it out loud.
So we've all, if I can for a moment, we've all been in relationships, right? And in your relationship, when you're dealing with somebody and you're like, hey, it's raining outside. And they're like, no, it's not, it's sunny, right? It doesn't matter if rain is pouring down. They're like, no, it's sunny. You just can't agree on anything, right? Okay, we get it. That's your relationship with Trump. You and him don't agree on anything. Right. When are we going to talk about our country?
Joe Biden, he's afraid.
Yeah.
He's afraid of Donald Trump.
Yes.
And
good point.
And he knows that he only has 15% chance of maybe winning, which is like, that's a lot. 15%. Trump has like 85 to 90% of sweeping.
Yeah.
So he's just afraid. That's why he's counterattacking all the time.
Yeah.
Because
he's attacking the leader.
Yes.
Right?
So,
he's attacking the leader. Yeah, absolutely.
But my next question is, go ahead.
Me in the real estate business for 24 years, things like that. You know what we call them? Misrepresentation. Yeah. So we've been misrepresented for the last 4 years, by Joe Biden.
Well, I think
when they censor people speaking the truth, they're able to do that.
Yeah.
Now, John, my question is, since this guy, Acevedo, gave him the opportunity, my question is, we are in the United States of America. Can he give the opportunity to Donald Trump to come to this channel to talk? Because we want to hear that.
Yeah. And so recent polls have said that 45% Hispanics have already declared their support for Trump, right? That's more than at any point in the history of our nation. I think that this interview, it might help Joe Biden, but more than anything, it helps Hispanics to realize, man, this is not very good. And that's even with the interpretation.
It's not true.
Right?
Yeah, it's true.
Even he's not saying no. He's not saying the truth.
Yes, exactly, right? It's exposing him. By the way, I wanted to give a shout out to El Punto Sandwich Shop. That's where we're at out here on South Orange Blossom Trail. They were very gracious enough to allow us to film here and do our little segment here on this video. Come out, enjoy coffee and sandwich. It's a great place. It's very beautiful inside, and they're expanding So come and support your local business here, okay? All right, let's move on to the
Remains the
interview.
number one cause of death for children in America.
Absolutely.
Latinos have made it a top priority across the country, especially in places like El Paso and Uvalde in Texas. Your administration called on Congress to pass common sense gun laws, but that's unlikely to happen in the next few months. If you're reelected, would you consider taking further executive action on this issue?
Absolutely. Look, I, along with Dianne Feinstein, passed the first limitation on assault weapons and the number of bullets that can be in a rifle. The idea anybody needs 100 rounds in a rifle and an AR-15. I was out in Uvalde. I met with every one of those families. I spent 4 hours with them. I look at the pain in their faces. I saw what they felt. I could feel it. And the idea that, and you know,
More
his phrase
favorable
on another
TV, right?
context,
Compelling
where there was
TV.
a mass shooting. I think it was in El Paso. He said, I said, what to do? I said, just get over it. Got to get over it. The idea we don't have background checks for anybody purchasing a weapon. The idea that we're going to be in a position where he says that he
So is that true? As far as I know, that's not true. I've never bought
That's
a
wrong.
weapon
That's wrong.
without my
Without-
background
yeah,
check.
exactly.
Yeah.
Right?
That's
I'm a
right.
concealed carry,
Yeah.
and I have to show my concealed carry, which is already the highest level background that the state does when you're
Correct.
buying arms,
Mhm,
right?
mhm.
And this loophole that they talk about at gun shows or whatever, it's only when you're buying personal. Like if I meet Jose on the street and I'm like, Jose, can I buy your car? You can buy Jose's car. You don't have to go. You have to go register it with the county, right? If I buy a gun from him, then it's a private interaction. So now what they're talking about is creating another level of government of interaction between two people, two adults, right? So if I go to Fior and I'm like, Fior, hey, can I buy that gun that you had, right? Let's say that you inherited it from your father, you want to sell it. You know, you want to go to the government now to report that. That's what they're talking about. The
Can I say
loophole.
something,
Yes,
John,
of
about
course.
that?
Yeah.
This is one thing that bothers me a lot. This guy is a liar. He's always, Joe Biden, is always lying about the laws, about our institution, about what's going on, and nobody questioned him.
Yeah.
So
I was
that,
thinking that while he
you know
was-
something that he could say, no, there's, you know, and he didn't.
Yeah.
They're not allowed to question. These reporters are not.
I'm very,
If they do,
very,
they'll
we,
never get it.
we just had that reporter from ESPN, Sage Steele, who said she interviewed Joe Biden, right? And she was told, "This is the script. You're not going to deviate." Executives were telling her, "You're not going to deviate from this. Not a single word."
No
They're
good.
not allowed to.
They're not allowed to ask questions.
See,
And go ahead.
I'm not an expert of body language, but you see his eyes, okay, it's not open wide enough.
I mean, his body
He's not
language.
saying the truth.
Yeah.
He's coordinating, an idea.
Yes. Yeah.
But he showed no love for America.
Yeah.
Yes,
He's,
that's right.
He's like a, plain,
The
8.5 by 10.
Well, what a great
legal
point.
side
Yeah.
or,
Yeah.
letter side.
What a great point, because
Yeah.
you have, like, when you see Donald Trump, he's hugging the flag.
Exactly.
Loving the country is his whole shtick, right? But this guy is like,
You
it's
see
just
people.
me, it's
you see
me, it's
people,
me,
you
and I
know.
hate Trump. It's me, and I hate Trump. And
That's
it's-
it.
You see
That's
people
it.
crying. You see people, sus ojos llorosos que pueden sentir el amor de Trump.
Yeah.
Y no
Yes.
solo de él, sino también de los que lo rodean y también del Partido Republicano.
Sí, exacto. I was wondering, like, he was saying, oh, well, I was there when Dianne Feinstein. You don't even know if he's telling the truth about that, right? Because he says that he's Italian, he was raised in black churches and Hispanic churches. His family's Puerto Rican, he says one day, and then they're from Nicaragua the next day. And you can never believe what he's saying, because they come out and they say, he's never even met anybody from Nicaragua before.
Cross the bridge in a train.
Yeah, he crossed the bridge in the
Mira,
train.
John, mi otra pregunta es, ¿alguien le va a preguntar sobre, algún periodista le va a preguntar, porque esa es otra cosa, nadie le pregunta a él nada,
Yeah.
porque él no está disponible y nosotros le estamos pagando a Joe Biden para que esté ahí,
Yeah.
y él nunca está disponible
Y
para
no
la
tiene el
prensa,
permiso para
no
preguntar.
tiene permiso. Alguien le se va a preguntarle a él, dijo el Special Counsel, que tú eres un hombre, es un hombre amable, pero pobrecito, no tiene memoria. ¿cómo tú crees que tú puedes manejar la presidencia de los Estados Unidos?
Que venga Ocean
¿Va
County,
alguien a
Florida.
preguntarle eso?
Que venga Ocean County, Florida.
Seriously told NRA that don't worry, no one's going to touch your guns. From the very beginning, I used to teach the Second Amendment in law school.
Again, you don't know if he's telling the truth.
You couldn't own a cannon.
Tiene la respuesta en ese
You
papelito
could
en la
own
mano.
a rifle, a gun, but there were certain things you couldn't do. But they weren't weapons of war. And look, we passed the first major gun legislation in over 30 years when we've passed the law that we recently passed that outlaws weapons that are made that you can't trace and so on and so forth. But it's not enough. I think we have to do more. And I am absolutely committed. And I ask the Congress, and if I get a Congress and get reelected, we're going to do it. We're going to make sure we eliminate these weapons.
With the pandemic in his rearview mirror, Biden is seeking re-election, running on a that has allowed his administration to create jobs at a
Are you
record
kidding me?
pace.
Did you hear that?
¿Qué dijo?
What?
¿Qué dijo? Before.
Every one of those families, I spent 4 hours.
Oh man, that's too far.
Running in a thriving
He
economy.
said he's running in a thriving economy.
He can do it again. He's re-elected, right?
Re-election, running on a thriving economy.
Running on a thriving economy. This is incredible. Do you believe that the economy is thriving?
The economy is not thriving.
Do you believe that the economy is
No.
thriving? Do you believe change?
No.
During a thriving economy, you don't have so many people looking for work because they cannot find business because they cannot afford it.
Yeah.
So it's all the contrary. Everything double.
Yeah.
The pricing models that we had with groceries, with any type of product, whether you're a mason, whether you are a small business, everything has gone up.
Yeah. I bought my wife a Coke yesterday, a bottle of Coke, like a small bottle of Coke, because she was over there packing boxes and stuff. And it was $3. And you don't remember when a
Coke was 45 cents.
$3 for a Coke, a bottle of $3.
Yes.
And then you buy a coffee today at $6.
Yeah.
So, I mean, a thriving economy. I'm not sure that he understands what thriving or economy means at this stage. But there's no way that when the economy is thriving, you don't have to tell everybody that the economy is thriving. When Trump was president and the economy was thriving,
Everybody was happy
we all knew
talking
that
about
the economy was doing well.
Well,
Right?
Perdón, es quien dice que la economía está creciendo y que está bien, no es el presidente, sino el reportero.
Yes.
So, yo creo que aquí hay una mala concepción, un concepto erróneo de lo que es una entrevista de parte de un reportero y lo que a quién le están preguntando, porque están tratando de hacer una imagen directa para que él se vea bien. Quien está haciendo la entrevista es que está manipulando las preguntas.
Eso no es aceptable, eso fue un coge bobo, como decimos en la República Dominicana.
Las preguntas ya van hechas y las respuestas ya están en el papelito de Biden en la
¿Quién
mano.
fue UNivision que hizo?
Sí.
UNivision, por eso es que yo no veo a UNivision, perdóname que yo estoy en tu
No.
yo no veo a UNivision.
Hispanics have lowest rate of healthcare coverage and access to preventive care in the country. But since the Affordable Care Act went into effect, the percentage of uninsured Latinos decreased from 40.2% to 24.5%. Just like his student loan forgiveness program and his efforts to provide affordable housing to low-income families.
Student loan forgiveness, that was a fallacy. Never came true. Eso fue un tema que él usó antes de él correr, cuando él estaba corriendo en el término anterior, que iba a darle iba a perdonarle los deudas de los estudiantes, pero todavía yo no soy el primer estudiante que ha dicho, a mí me perdonaron todos mis deudas.
Sí.
Mi hija tiene 2 y yo tengo 1.
Eso nunca lo pudieron pasar.
Sí, yo no.
Él corrió con esa promesa, pero eso nunca se hizo. Student loan forgiveness, that never happened.
Eso es incierto, eso no es real.
¿A costa de qué? ¿De mis impuestos?
No, porque lo hicieron para que la jubre, creyendo que él iba a perdonar las deudas.
Es como localmente están haciendo la misma cosa, ¿verdad? Están sacando becas a todos los estudiantes van, pero essentially they're buying votes, right? That's the whole point of it. They're trying to buy votes. Even if they're not complying with what they're promising, that's the whole goal of what they're doing, right?
Are they doing that locally too?
They say they are. So they are giving away free scholarships, but here it's because of a different problem, which we'll talk about. So we are under limited time. We have to wrap up. We're going to continue the show, and we're going to present to you the entire interview with the Hispanic audience watching it. This is kind of like a preview for that show. So please join us at a later date and time. We'll announce that this afternoon. Please watch the rest of the show. We continue to kind of fact check Biden, so to speak. Thank you. You have a great day. See you again soon.
Bye.